Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of We Talk Talent Season 5, where we host renowned HR leaders from across industries and ask them to share with us their best practices and strategies that they have been implementing in their organizations to cater to the ever evolving needs of the workforce, and workplace. Today, I am thrilled to have Pallab Chandra, Talent Acquisition Director International from Alight Solutions, on board with us today for this episode. Pallab is an experienced talent acquisition leader with close to 2 decades of expertise in scouting talent in multiple geographies. Currently, he's leading the talent acquisition function for Alight Solutions and responsible for managing 3 regions for the organization, that's APAC, EMEA, and LATAM. Welcome, Pallab. It's such a pleasure to host you today.
Thanks, Nirja, for having me here today. And that's very exciting to have this kind of session and then understanding what is the industry problem today. And then together, we all, how we can look at the solution, how we can make it better for the HR function and give a better experience to all the resource we come across.
That's great. All right, then, without any further ado, let me kickstart this episode with my very first question, Pallab. So you and I and the entire world has been, scouting this answer for understanding the skills shortage that every industry, I think, almost is going around. So according to you, and say maybe, I'm sure you have had experiences in understanding multiple industrial, expectations in terms of skill shortage. So what type of skill shortage do you think is causing the talent war right now?
So I'll talk about more about my organization. So we are a HR technology organization which transform the legacy HR system to a cloud-based HR system. And if we look at last few years IT industry landscape, most of the product, most of the customers are moving to cloud-based technologies because that's the need of the hour. We would like to make sure that we don't work on the standalone application anymore because cloud applications can be used across the globe. So what happened typically when the industry is moving towards cloud technology, we did not got enough time to bring or upscale our resources to the cloud platform. This typically happened because we got a hit by COVID. So most of the organization had to delay their graduate engineer onboarding because that's where we can build the resource and we can deploy it. So everybody got dependent on the external market resources, and that's where the war started. Everybody started, pulling each other resource. That's created huge shortage. So I feel to overcome that, we have to look at more of upscaling, more of cross-scaling resources on the cloud or any upcoming technology. Today we are talking about AI, right? So tomorrow there will be a huge need of AI skilled resources. But how many organizations are putting effort to make that upskilling of resources? There are few organizations who are very vocal, who are investing on upskilling, but the numbers are less. And tomorrow there will be again war for AI skilled resources. So first, intake has to be increased for the campus graduates. And then another way of looking at this problem will be, how do you do more and more internship program with the college graduates and then get them ready before they get onboarded to any organization. So if organizations spend more on this internship program, then future ready resources will be available, and that's how we'll be able to kill this shortage of resources.
Great. So these 2 points, Pallab, I think you very rightly mentioned that while there are a lot of developments happening in the space of technology, it has to start from the very starting point when somebody gets into the corporate world. And so now when there are academics who are revamping their courses in terms of, coming in line with what the world of work is already into, it should be imbibed from the very first. And the courses, there might be additional courses being offered in the campuses. And secondly, of course, the internship opportunities, I'm sure our budding managers, the budding candidates who are out there coming, wanting to join organizations, maybe say Alight itself. So they have to be at par with whatever technological advancements that's happening around. Thank you so much, Pallab, for sharing that. I think that's a great point. I'll just move my question towards understanding as to if we had to talk about a little bit in terms of diversity, inclusion, and equity, I mean, for you, how does that particular agenda looks like at
So
Alight?
it's a very again interesting topic. Not only topic to be discussed, at the same time, how do we live with the DI agenda? Because here in India, typically, if we look at DI, we talk more on the gender diversity, but it has to go beyond the gender diversity. We have to look at race, ethnicity, culture, from where they are coming, because having a diverse group of resource not only help you to get different ideas, at the same time different challenges what they have gone through in the past years, that will help you to gain more and more expertise. So if you are hiring resources only from one region or one location, you are not going to get the expertise what is there in the other places. So what I believe and what I talk to my colleagues and to the leaders is that it should not be only agenda of hiring diverse resource pool. We have to see that how do we live with that, how do we make sure that we are giving them the right platform to express their ideas, making them more accountable, instead of just terming that we did certain initiative, we did certain hiring, and we just filled or checked some boxes. We have to go beyond that. We have to make sure that we get them in the system and we give them the leverage to live with their ideas. So we are doing a lot of activities in and around DI, not only hiring from the external market. At the same time, we are upbringing our internal resources. We are making more, gender bias leadership roles, so that we make sure that we live up to that expectation, and people understand that gender does not do any discrimination, or their ethnicity or race does not do any discrimination, and that has to be not by talk. At the same time, everybody need to understand the importance of it, why we need it, because want to have a diverse group of ideas coming in the table, just not getting limited to any particular country or region.
Great points again, Pallab. And I totally agree to the point wherein you mentioned that hiring just to maintain diversity is no more like a tick in the box, attitude for any organization, right? Because for organizations, it's very critical to have the right set of people in every team so that there is a cross culture learning associated with it as well. And also, when we talk about biasness in terms of gender, I think it's something about history that we might be understanding that men can probably do tough work, women can't do tough work, and all of that. So all of that is the word of the past, and right now everybody's moving towards
Correct. At the
positivity.
same time, we have to train the current population that what are the unconscious bias is there in our mind. Sometimes we do bias, but we don't understand, right? So
Yeah.
different learning program for the current population or the current set of leaders, hiring managers, and taking them to that how they can come out of this unconscious bias. Once you create that right mindset, then hiring will not be a problem. Another challenges happen is that how do you give them that platform? Because a lot of time we have experienced that we have got diverse group of people, but
Yeah.
we don't create the right platform, and they feel that they are isolated, they are not part of that engine, and they start moving out, they start going out to another organization or another places, because they don't feel they have been included properly. So it's just not the culture. At the same time, we have to make sure that they feel they are part of the system.
Yeah, the feeling of being heard, seen, and valued is something that all employers must keep in mind. So this takes me to another part of the question, Pallab, which is about the generations that are working in the organizations. Now we see Gen Zs coming in with very different set of expectations from the workplace. Millennials had a very different set of expectations, right? So when we talk about the expectations that Gen Zs have in terms of entering the workforce, how do you see their expectations, in comparison with the other generations that are already in the workplace?
So again, we have to understand why we have to have Gen Z priorities, because the typical generation and the workforce what we are carrying, by 2030 we're going to have 1/4 of our workforce coming from Gen Z, right? And if we don't value them, if we don't take care of them, then we're going to lose a good number of or good size of population in this workforce, and this particular ecosystem will fall because we are not creating the future talent pool, future resource pool to take care of this ecosystem. So first of all, we have to understand that what Gen Z is looking for and why there is a difference of opinion between the previous generation and this Gen Z. The more we understand that, then our job becomes easy to get them again included. Because inclusion, that's what is required at the end of the day. So typically, the expectation from the Gen Z is that they want flexibility. What kind of flexibility we are talking about? Are we talking about only work from home, work from office, hybrid, or we are talking about flexibility in terms of time shifts, what they work? So Gen Z is looking for a flexible work environment where they are free to express their ideas, where they are free to utilize their time. Today, in this fast-paced world, everybody would like to utilize their time. So if we bind them, saying that it's only work from office, or it hybrid, you got to just count some hours in the office, they might not feel included and they will get detached from the system. So we have to create one flexible work environment where we'll be able to give them the opportunity of getting included. At the same time, they utilize their time better. Another aspect of getting this Gen Z included in our system is this Gen Z is more technology focused, or the way they execute their job, they want to use the technology most. So in our workplace, are we giving them enough tools and technologies to carry out their work? I'll give you a very small example of talent acquisition. Okay, so till few years we were doing hiring only from the job boards like Naukri, LinkedIn, this kind of job boards, right? But today, if we see that people are getting more, like people are spending time on Instagram, YouTube's, right? So now this Gen Z comes back saying that can we use these tools for our hiring? So this now we as an organization we have to see that can we get these tools for the hiring, right? How do we make sure that people don't misutilize, but at the same time, whatever the tools Gen Z is looking for, can we give them that? So when we said okay for this, immediately we saw that they started coming up with innovative ideas. Like we will talk about video job description. Okay, so people spending time on their mobile, they will just scroll and they will see that okay, so and so company is hiring. This is the job description, a short description, and then they can go to the company career page and look for. So this technology enablement we have to do. Another thing is that in today's generation or Gen Z, they are focused on the impact of what they are creating in the work environment. If they see that the work what they are doing does not make any impact, or they are not getting enough opportunity to learn, again they start exploring opportunity in the other, not only in the other organization, maybe in the other field. Somebody is into say application development, they would like to move to a project management kind of role because they are feeling that they are not getting enough learning opportunity. So as a leader, as a manager or people manager, it's going to be their additional responsibility to create that learning curve for them. If they feel that they are they are having the opportunity to learn, they are having the opportunity to put forward their ideas, they will get more engaged in the system. And we have to do this, because if we don't create our future workforce, if we don't include the future workforce with whatever the facilities they want, then we are creating a problem for ourselves. Then again, your skill shortage, your talent war, all will come in play again, because you are getting dependent on the current resource pool only. So I feel as a like previous generation, it is our responsibility to give them that platform. Gen Z is very much vocal about mental health, well-being. So we have to see that how we are having empathetic work environment. Are we hearing their problems, or we are just dumping them with the loads of work? So we have to make sure that we create that environment for them.
Yeah, very rightly said, Pallab. I think the flexibility is one of the important aspects now Gen Zs actually prefer while joining an organization. And secondly, of course, the learning curve. Is it just merely joining an organization, taking back a paycheck along with them is just done and dusted kind of thing for them? No. They need a space wherein they can, bloom more, learn more skills, and obviously be ready for the next phase of their lives. So I think very rightly said. And I think for Gen Zs, this employer branding, I think for talent acquisition leaders, like you mentioned, they're using social media for hiring as well. So it is an opportunity for the talent acquisition team to be also actively provide with those kind of avenues and aspects wherein job seekers can actually see as to how will it look like working in our organization, not just merely the JD or the paycheck. This is the culture that we are providing. So yeah, excellent points there, Pallav. Moving towards, like I mentioned, employer branding attributes and other best practices. There's a lot of talks going around when we say employee engagement strategies need to be in place, right? And with earlier, we were all in a work from home setup, so remote working setup was there. Slowly, we moved towards a flexible hybrid kind of a setup, and now the world is almost back to work kind of a setup. So maybe tell us, Pala, from your experience, how does these employee engagement strategies are working? Are they actually working to cater to these needs of different remote, flexible, hybrid kind of work setup, or the full back to office work setup?
So, while with this work from home opportunity, uh, we could give a lot of flexibility to the current resource, but at the same time, we have created a vacuum of belonging, right? Earlier, while everybody was coming to office, talking to each other, and they were just feeling a part of organization, getting, the informations, getting communications, uh, all these things were there. But with this virtual work, slowly we have not created that environment of communication. So typically today, somebody who is working from home for long period of time, they don't get all the communication apart from the communication which is happening at an organization level. Okay, there are a lot of communication that XYZ project is starting. There are different problems like that, and how they are solving those problems. So those communication is dropping, and that's why people are getting isolated, which is taking a toll on employees mental health. So as a HR leader, we have to again create environment where we stay transparent on the communication. Okay, today some company does layoff of 100 or 1,000 of resources. Similar competitor organizations start getting scared, or the employees start getting scared that is that the same thing is going to happening in our organization. So we have to make sure that we stay clear on our communication. Though they are working as a virtual colleagues, how do we create that environment of communication? And then how do we make sure that we give them a feel of belonging? So for that, a lot of employee engagement activities needs to be done. Again, it's just not form filling activities. When we are doing employee engagement activities, we have to we have to be more empathetic. We have to be being we have to create that environment that it's just not like that once in a month activity. Okay, it's a family and we all are together. So if we can give them that belonging feeling, they're gonna be more, they will have the sense of part of the organization. So communication, belonging, employee engagement, and then we have to look at that how we become more flexible. Some companies have started hybrid where it is like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Some company has done Tuesday, Thursday. But is it really flexible? Because no, you are giving them a strict guideline that so and so days you got to be there in the office. So when we are talking about flexibility, we have to give them the real flexibility that so many hours in a year you got to complete, but the selection of the dates or the selection of the days, it's up to the resources, right? So that flexibility we have to give, or we have to talk. Similarly, as I said earlier, on the timing, shift timing, we have seen certain time of the day the traffic become worse, right? Then how we can move our shift timings, which will not have much impact on their travel time, and then they will feel, their flexibility is in real terms. If I ask everybody to be there in office by 9 o'clock, then all the employees going to be there on the roads at 8 o'clock, and huge traffic, and you are losing your time. Instead of that, if we can do it to make sure that delivery is not impacted, but we can give them that flexible timing, and they will feel that yes, this is the real flexibility what they have got.
Yeah, I think valid points, Pallab. The definition of employee engagement has now gone beyond just fun Fridays and
Yes.
motivational Mondays for everybody. And the sense of belongingness is something that you have rightly mentioned, because it's very important to make the employees the fuel of the organization to be valued, and they understand that this is something that they are actually making an impact, and that their vision, their aspirations are also matching up to the aspirations of the organization as well. So very rightly mentioned, and I love the point wherein you said that maybe it's now time to start measuring the productivity in terms of hours when we talk about flexibility, that giving that rights to the employee as to finalize the timeline as to wherein you need to finish off these hours and pick up a day, and how do you want to do that, it's all up to you. So I think that practice is something very interesting, and yes, those fake flexibility attributes of coming on these selected dates, so I think it's all there. And I think the debate on these things will keep on going, and you and I are merely just one part of this entire debate that we can do. All right, then, Pallab, moving to my last question, and this is very well closely related to your heart because you have been in this profession for more than 2 decades now. So, while there has been a lot of changes from these past couple of years in the talent acquisition space, and like different generations have different problems to be catered to, there are different problems in terms of hiring as well. So can you share with us some of the most prominent challenges that you face in the space of talent acquisition, and some notable practices that you're using to overcome it, maybe something from the Alight Solutions as well?
So there are a lot of challenges, and we all are there to work together. And how do we make sure that we can minimize those challenges?
Yeah.
I will not say that we'll be able to come out of all those challenges, but how we can minimize those challenges. So from talent acquisition standpoint, I see the first challenges is the experience, or the candidate experience, right? The more you do better your candidate experience, you're going to have more and more resources coming to your organization as a proactive resource pool. Okay, you need not to go and hunt people. It's that qualified resources will come to you and will look after you for opportunity. So how they have been treated from the time they have applied till the time they have come on board. You might not onboard, or you might not accommodate all the resources who has applied to you, because obviously we're going to do that based on their skills, based on their expertise. But how you have treated a rejection? Have you gone back? Have you spoken to them about the rejection? Have you given them the true feedback about their rejection? Because if you create that environment, they will understand that where they are lacking, and then how they can upscale themselves and pick up the next opportunity. So when, as a talent acquisition team member, we do that, they will go and talk to their 10 more friends that, I went to this organization, they did my interview, and I'm lacking, as per them, I'm lacking on this technologies or skill set, then I should focus on this. Then the other person will feel, wow, that's a great experience. And the other person will come back to you asking for opportunities. So candidate experience, I'd say, a major problem, what every recruiter need to look at, and they have to look at how they create that environment. When you do that candidate experience better, you are working on your employer branding also, because people are talking about the employer. People are not talking about XYZ recruitment team member. They are talking about I went for interview to Alight and I got this kind of feedback or suggestion from them. So this will helping in the employer branding also. Then another problem what I see is that uh, the retention of resources, right? Uh, how do you do that better retention of resources? Typically, people come with certain mindset when they join any company or any organization. And is there any miscommunication happen during their hiring process? We said, XYZ number of hours you have to deliver, or so and so tasks you have to complete. But when they come in, they see that the work is not at par with their expectation level. So we got to make sure that we do a better communication at a hiring stage, so that retention of resources becomes better. Otherwise, what will happen? One side you will do hiring, you will keep filling a position, but you will see early attrition. So early attrition is really happening because there is no clear communication during their hiring stage. So we have to look at that our team recruiters are doing clear, transparent communication. There are no false promises. If you do not have certain opportunity, say somebody want to work on a development project and you do not have development work at this point of time, you should not be doing false promises. So we have to make sure that we do this better, so that we do the retention better of resources. Right. Another challenge is what I see, that employer branding. Today, a lot of recruiters just goes to the job board, pick up XYZ resumes, work with the hiring manager, close the position. But are we doing right employer branding? Just not by publishing our job. At the same time, the kind of culture what we have in the organization, the kind of learning curve we have in the organization, are we promoting that in different platform? Are we talking about that to the upcoming applicants, so that they get aware that what kind of opportunity they're going to get? Because again, we will come back or circle back on the same topic of Gen Z, right? What I want learning opportunity. I want to be valued. I want to be heard, right? So if we do employer branding correctly with the structure we have built in terms of our culture, then your employer branding will play a massive role. And if you do employer branding correctly, you're gonna get a lot of passive resources. Today, what happens? Everybody is running behind same pool of resources, right? So if we do not get passive resources, everybody will be hunting on the same resources. But when you have a right employer brand, you are going to get a lot of passive resources, and those passive resources will not do job hopping or offer shopping in the market, right? So your effort will get reduced. You'll be able to fulfill the roles with a shorter span of time with this passive resources.
Yeah, I think again, valid points, Pallab. Firstly, candidate experience is not just the candidates who are joining the organization, but the candidates who had applied and were unfortunately rejected. The kind of experience they take away, who did not really make it to the organization, are indirect brand advocates for their organization. So they'll go out there, say that, okay, this organization, I couldn't unfortunately make it, but they provided me with the feedback. They made me understand that why was I not the right fit. And then second point mentioned by your, retention is something that our employers and the talent acquisition and employer branding team needs to also keep in mind, that how do we take into consideration all aspects of making an employee feel valued in the organization. And the bigger umbrella of employer branding, like you rightly mentioned, that understanding different avenues, how as to how well we can present ourselves to the world of work, because the talent pool is the same talent pool that hundreds of other organizations are also aiming to. So with the same JD, the same, maybe the same kind of salary package out there, how do we come out different and showcase our culture, showcase our value that maybe makes us stand out in the pool out there, and fortunately become one of those organizations that the potential employees are going ahead with. So like
How do
we
you
mentioned,
create that differentiation? Like
yes.
in the same industry space,
Mhm.
same domain, there are multiple organizations working, right? And those competitors. So how do you differentiate yourself with the competitors? That's going to be with your culture. That's where how your talent acquisition team is branding themselves in the external market, because talent acquisition team is the first team people get to see. So if the talent acquisition team not doing right, then people have the perception about the organization. So we got to make it correct. No candidate ghosting. You do not have any feedback to share. Share that information. Be transparent on the communication, that it might get further delay because of XYZ business results, but be transparent. Give them the clear communication. Then only people will understand that you really value people. If you don't value them at the stage of hiring, then they will feel that they will not be valued after being part of the organization, and they might go to the competitor organization where they're getting valued at the interview stage. So how a talent acquisition team can create the difference between competitors, that's what we have to look at.
Yes, Pallab, thank you. I think I was forgetting the very important point of the communication aspect. Irrespective, it's a job interview, it's something that's happening in the organization. If there's a layoff coming, I think the
Correct.
employees need to be, specified in so many ways that, okay, don't worry, this is something that is part of the
Correct.
restructuring and it's not going to hamper you, or if at all this is going to hamper
Correct.
your job in the organization, we are there to probably take care of your next job or something like that, some kind of value that they can probably give. I think, thank you so much, Pallab. Those were really great insights and very practical insights, I would say, because the world of work is actually talking about these practices, these strategies, and most of the organizations are actually implementing, but it's not just about the implementation, it's about the impact
How do
now
we
that
live with that? It's just not
Yes.
implementing, living with those culture, whatever we are talking, whatever processes we are putting to make sure that we hear candidate, we hear employees. We have to make sure that we are living with it.
Yes, we are actually following. We are living with it. We are making an impact out of it. What is the ROI of all those
Correct.
strategies that we are wanting
Correct.
to? Thank you so much, Pallab, for taking out time and joining us today. It was a great conversation, I think.
Thank you, Nilanjana. Thanks, Madan.
Yeah, all right then, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we come to the end of this episode. I'm sure you will have lot of information and insights to take from this episode. Stay tuned, and until then, bye bye.
Bye-bye.